This has to be one of the coolest places ever. We are in the Kasungu National Park in Malawi. It's the second largest national park here, and we happened to cross this really cool place. I can't remember what it's called, Lifupa or something. It's a little lodge and it's right on the water, and there are tons of hippos in here. Many, many, many hippos, said the housekeeper, but he said we're safe here, so we are kind of stalking them. And we heard a bunch of grunting, and it's really exciting. So my dad has decided to go over there and try and spot them. He's very stealthy, as you can see in his fluorescent orange. Man, this is so cool. It's just very laid back, and this feels like real Africa. It's about 2 hours off the main road on a very dusty, dirty, pothole-ridden path, but it's just pretty epic. And it kind of reminds us of why we're doing this trip, which is to see cool shit and to feel connected, you know? I don't want to just stay on the main path all the time, so. Dad, guess what? The guy said that there's a big elephant on the road, so we can't go back to the lodge now, we must wait. So he might come this way.
Is it?
Yeah, but he said we mustn't scare him or anything, because he's a big bad boy. So he said they heard a shot 2 days ago, and they think maybe he was shot.
We tried to call the vet, but yeah, that's about 4 hours drive.
Is it?
Yeah. So I'll stay here for 4 hours and keep an eye on him, because he can't keep up with the group, so he's very vulnerable.
Oh my goodness.
And this is terrible.
You see this, Dad? Look, he's walking.
I know.
Shame.
I'm not a person who will look in the future. So I think my purpose for now is to be here and to protect the animals, especially the elephants. Because I say animals because we don't have a lot left. This park was called Kruger Park in the early days, and nobody will come here anymore. The rhinos are already extinct. But we do our best, and some people say, Remy, you're bringing water to the sea. I'm very positive. I just still want to fight for it. Very proud that this lodge is now up and running, and it needs to go to the next level. So since last year, November, Yobe Thompson is managing the lodge now. So now I can fully concentrate on my elephants. I named a lot already, and it's so good to see when you're back from, even if it's just one daily long, when you come back and you see Bobo or Fupa or Mr. C, then I'm like, oh yes, they're still there. And I say, oh yes, they're still there because of poaching. I think out of 1,500, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, I counted 48 last year. So it's bad, it's really bad. Anti-Poaching Unit here is very important. I need them, they need me. They need information from me to know where the elephants are in which months. I need information from them, so one cannot survive with the other.
Well, I've done the army before. I didn't really see any good reason why we was standing there and there fighting, and for me this is a good reason to fight. If you protect elephant, you also protect the whole park. Deforestation, encroachment, water poisoning, and all of those problems we got.
How many people in your unit here?
In total?
Yeah.
Not enough. Park is really huge. It's 2,300 something square kilometer, and we're definitely not enough to counter poacher. So with the little equipment we have, we try to just protect the park, send a message. We do also sometimes some extension, go in a village, patrol in the village and explain, try to explain that it's not good to poach. It's a long process. It is really hard, and the amount of distance that we have to cover, it's huge to protect the park. So we work with communities a lot, and they give us information that we can go and arrest poacher. We also work with the police and magistrate, try to change a bit the mentality and give more or bigger sentences to the guys we catch. The problem is the government doesn't have much money, so we help as we can. Yeah, and now we had some good improvement, but everything is slow. No, that's only me.
It's only you.
Yeah.
And then the others
The rest-
come and go.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just arrived 10 days. I'm trying to stay here for a year. There's a lot of reasons. Probably the biggest one is that I've done some things that I'm not proud of, and I feel like I need to fight a different fight, but for a good cause. Not for politics, not for money, just to help people out. So that's why I'm here.
I can't help but look at Matt and see a man drained of energy, time, and resources, but not drained of his last hope. What is truly remarkable is that he continues. He's still fighting. He's still leading the charge.
I came here with 2 bags for training of a few weeks here, and then now I'm here. It's more than 2 years. I don't know if this is my purpose in my life. I don't know. I'm glad that I've been trained in the army and fight before that can help me do what I'm doing now.
To lift herself up.
One of the challenges with wildlife medicine, especially when your goal is for them to stay in the wild, is when to intervene. And so even before I went to go look at this elephant, I had in my mind, what are some of the things that I'm looking for that would mean that I can do something, that I can help? The problem with a wound or an injury like this is that if there's a big nasty wound, if there's a snare, there's something we can do something about.
She is eating, but I'm not sure about drinking. I don't know if she went to the lake before she came out here. So we're just going to try to find and look for her. And then she can see herself. Hopefully she can see the wound a little bit closer by. She has her binoculars with her. And if she sees that it is possible to remove the bullet, because what we then have is like the bullet itself, and we can match it with the poacher. And then he can go on trial. It would be great if we have the bullet, but if it will harm the elephant more, then I don't want her to do it. But it would be a win-win situation if it's possible to operate her, get the bullet out, treat her, and then the coming days I'm just going to monitor her, and then we have the bullet. And I really think that the family dropped her last night with us. They went on, she could have her food here, and now this morning 10 o'clock they just came and get her. So it is positive. Then the family itself also thinks she can maybe be better, because if an elephant is dying, then they stay with her the whole time.
When we went out and saw her, it was obvious she is very, very lame on that leg. She's having a hard time picking up the foot, and also she's just not being able to bear much weight on it. And even though she can move around, she's eating, she went out with her family, it's obvious that her mobility is very limited and that she just is in a lot of discomfort. We're looking at her wholly. You could see a place in the ear where it looked like the bullet went through. And so I was following that to the other side of the ear and then to the point of the shoulder. And it did look like there was a bullet entry. It's something that you might be able to stick your finger into.
It's an organized crime. A lot of people think it's the poor Malawians who needs money and feed the family. It's not true. These guys, they don't care about animals, they only care about money. They have big houses and cars and they just want to have more and more money. So it has nothing to do with feeding the families. Not anymore. Maybe it was in the early days. Then there was the real hunting. These poachers needs to be punished. And in Zambia, in Kenya and Tanzania, the poachers can't choose to pay a fine or go to jail. Here in Malawi, they can still choose. And that's for us also hard, because then of course they choose to pay money. They will get their money somewhere. And then they are back on the street, or in this case, in our bush the next day.
Animals that are big like that don't do well on 3 legs. And so it will be causing a lot of extra stress on the rest of her body, especially her front left. And you can already tell that in the way that it's a bit wobbly at times. So when there's this overall stress and imbalance in the animal, you think, okay, so if I'm going to anesthetize this animal, I need to have a really good reason, because that's going to add yet another stress on top of it. And that could be what puts them over the edge. So unless there's just a really, really good reason you think this is going to make the difference in this animal's outcome, then and you might consider against an anesthesia. And that's what I did today. And I chatted with, I had asked for, when I heard about this story last night, I emailed friends that I knew down in South Africa who are wildlife vets and said, what is your recommendation? They said, gunshots, you usually leave them unless there's something obvious to do. And I called another friend today and said, hey, this is a situation. She's like, yep, I would give it at least a week, make sure she is hanging in there and eating and moving at least somewhat and staying stable. But I agree, there's the benefits of an anesthesia and what you might do is not going to outweigh the risk. And when they're already on the line, you just want to try to support them as best you can. I suspect that the problem, instead of an infection or something like that, for her is going to be just the overall stress of not being able to move and being under a lot of pain. That doesn't mean that we need to rush out and euthanize this animal. I think giving her some time is fine, as long as she's eating, moving, and maintaining body condition and stuff. I think you can give her some time to hopefully heal. If it becomes obvious that she can't do that, then you might consider a different course of action.
I'm just looking forward to meet the guy who shot him. Problem is to get volunteers come here. It's on their own cost, and because we don't have money, I also ask them to pay a bit of money for their stay if they stay for a short time. So that's a lot of money for them. So they must be really motivated. If I can at least be able to pay for their food, then we can have much more people, and that will help.
I mean, I know a lot of guys who complete mess after they came back from Afghanistan, just drinking, doing drugs, and barely hanging on to any jobs. And they need to think about making peace with themselves and trying to fight a different fight, but for a good cause, like I said, where politics not involved.
We need people to be out there looking at this and going, this is not just an elephant that has gotten chopped, this is a case. You know what? And to look at it like a case and say, all right, he was saying it would be really, really useful to have the bullet for ballistics and to be able to identify the shooter. That's a great way to look at something like this, because if you're just saying, that's too bad, I hope this doesn't happen again, then it kind of just lets everything slide a bit. So his work, especially looking and saying, our goal is to find this person, and here's how we can take steps to do that, I think that's great.
They're getting freaking slaughtered out there. The poachers, they don't care, they just cut their noses off and pull the ivory out right in front of their kids. And that's horrible. I mean, most of the guys I served with, they have really kind heart. They should just do some reading and if there's the stuff that you see and read about what poachers do to the elephants, I mean, if something inside of you doesn't change, if something doesn't click, then I mean, what kind of human being you are, you know? I mean, we saw a lot of suffering out there back in Afghanistan. I feel it's kind of the same, but this time it's the animals who suffer. I just want to help, and I hope the guys back home, they will, like I said, do some reading about it, and something will change, and they'll come out here.
I respect these guys so much. They risk their lives to go into the bush, try to find poachers who are heavily armed. They can kill elephants, so it's easy to kill a person, but they go there, and I have a lot of respect for them. But you have to have a specific background to help Matt, because yeah, you have to walk in the bush. It's very dangerous, and you have to know how to handle a gun. Of course, they don't have to use it that many times, but Matt must also feel secure with his team. It's the same as in a war. It's also a war here.
We try to hold the line until people realize how important it is.
It's something I can be proud of for the rest of my life.
It's a big challenge. It's not finished.
Kasungu is an example of the many parks and conservationists within them fighting a losing battle. Losing all of the elephants is a very real possibility if more people like Remke and Matt don't step forward to help. Poaching will mean a world without many of the things that make Earth the most beautiful planet in the solar system.